Hey, what's up? I want to do a tour of my city in, city skylines. But, yeah, let's just get right into it. Let's start from this side of the map. Obviously, this is all trash. Here's the main city, Sunset City. Um, yeah, I guess I want to talk a little bit about how I made the layout. In between these, there should be bike lanes, and bike lanes are the most direct route to get to anywhere. Driving, it takes the long route, which actually improves traffic. There's far better traffic flow, and it actually, I'd say, makes things faster than if you made a direct route, simply because there's less of an incentive to drive anywhere. And with that, also there's also a bunch of subways, the subways that link the major cities together. And also there's usually subways in all the cities except for Beach Town. I haven't added that one yet. Yeah, there's the two main college campuses, or there's three total, but two of them are in Sunset City. It's the biggest city here, and then Frontier City also has one. And yeah, Frontier Institute. And they all pretty much follow a similar sort of pattern, although I'd say Sunset City's probably done the best, has the better layout overall, as it was far more planned. The other cities were a bit more sporadic and kind of came together over time. Yeah. I'd say let's look at the financing of it all. There's only one toll road, and this was more or less just to discourage people from driving anywhere, to just take the train instead. Yeah. So, they usually don't, they usually just take the train. They usually don't drive anywhere. It's usually fine. That's one way to keep the traffic low, I'd say. Let's see what else. Let's look at the others. We have trolls. We have tourism, 13%. This, for a while I was breaking even on the bus route, but as soon as I started to add different bus lanes to the other cities, it used to just be Sunset City. And when it was at Sunset City only, the whole bus thing usually broke even. Yeah. Then we have the trains, all of that. The airlines often make profits, but they come and go. Sometimes I'm losing a lot of money, sometimes I'm making a ton of money. I think overall it's pretty profitable. Overall. And here's education. About half my money usually comes from the campuses. I milk those dry as much as I can. Here we got the industries. The industries are probably one of the most annoying things to deal with, just because they don't work well. I think they're poorly programmed. So you'll often have places that have too much product, and then you have accompanying industry parts that need those products, but they won't be shipped for whatever reason. One solution is just to make a ton of storage. That sort of helps, but at a certain point it just becomes too much. And basically, oil and the ore industries are, basically don't make any money afterwards once they run out of oil or ore. You would think that they would just import, but at the very least they don't import at a fast enough rate, and so they always need products, and it's pretty unprofitable. So I've turned off most of this industry. I'm not really sure what I'll do with it in the future. And the specialty buildings, I've just turned them off. Sometimes they get filled even though they're off, and then I'll just turn them on briefly and then turn them back off. Yeah. So I guess first let's look at Beach Town. Beach Town is supposed to have more of a Miami sort of vibe. It was expanded into the sea. You can see the beach where it cuts off yet. So that was basically just a straight path before, but then I turned it into this more grid pattern, but with also these little islands, again, to give it more of a Miami feel. And on all of the maps there's an extensive bike network to get everywhere. all of that just to reduce the amount of traffic. Yeah, alright. And one of the biggest ways that I've reduced traffic was make this underground highway. It's mostly meant for freight trucks and municipal sort of vehicles. You'd keep the trash trucks here, and then they'd go all along this undershoot sort of thing, and if you look at the highway network, they land into these different neighborhoods, having a direct access to each of these neighborhoods, because prior to that they would cause so much traffic, and then they just wouldn't collect the trash in time and all the buildings would leave. And so that's how I basically solved that. It's not perfect, but it basically gets the job done. This one also has access to it, although it's not as well made. It does have the loop, but I haven't finished connecting all the different neighborhoods to get their trash collected, but it still works out pretty well, I think. Yeah, bike networks everywhere, basically. You know, they'll run across these little towns, and you know, there's another one here. That basically does it. Yeah. I think that's it. I think we'll take a couple more shots. You could look at it from here. I think it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good at night. Especially at night, I'd say it looks really good with the lights shining everywhere, but even during the day it looks pretty good, I'd say. I think it has a pretty good layout. Sure, it's a grid, but you know, it was supposed to be a very efficient city, where everything runs smoothly. That was sort of the goal. It's not perfect, but I'd say it's getting there. You know, a few more underground passes and different networks should fix that, solve that. Yeah. Alright, yeah. Yeah, I did a little bit of artwork here. I think this looks alright, but that's basically it. There isn't really much more to it. Yeah. Alright.